Unnovations contains products that some viewers may find offensive. So if you're the type of viewer who's easily shocked, then please switch off now and save us all a lot of grief.
Coming up later on Unnovations. Don't stare at the disabled. It's wrong. Wear a patrovisor. Don't stare at the Unnovations customers. They can't help it. Just listen to their kind words of endorsement.
It has become the axis on which I exist.
Do stare at the celebrity. That's what they like. It gives them star power. But now on Unnovations, sit back with your hands on your balls for men only. Welcome back to Unnovations. Time now for our Men Only Hour. No, it's not what it sounds like. In the past, I know some viewers have thought it might be a pornographic muck festival. Well, don't worry, you'll see no dicks or fannies here. It's called Men Only because these Unnovations are designed with fellas in mind. That's all, isn't that right, Natalie?
That's exactly why this themed hour is called for Men Only, Ross. Your explanation was as clear as anything a judge might say, or something you might read in a pamphlet.
Clarity is my middle name, Natalie.
And I'm Denise.
And this is Chunky Chunky Rope, because as it says on the box here, men ain't men without a big chunk of rope.
Wow, is it American?
No, made in Devon, actually. Have a feel of that, Natalie. Go on, give it a really good feel. You see, she's hooked already. Rope is a status thing, and the bigger and fatter the rope, the bigger a man you are. Believe me, guys, forget the car you drive, forget the watch you wear, it's your rope that matters. I took this bit to the pub with me last night, and let's just say that for 2 full hours, I was the king of a Wetherspoons.
And look, it's such a simple idea.
The rope comes in an unlimited range of sizes. Simply, the more you pay, the longer and fatter and the heavier rope will be.
And unlike other status symbols like a fancy car or a trophy wife, rope won't get stolen at night.
Rope's actually been around for years. In the ancient world, man used it to hang people and more recently to build ships and put the lid on the dome, so you can guarantee it'll never go out of fashion.
A lot of women, like my friend Sue for example, find jewellery on men a bit vulgar or gay, but rope says I'm a man. And Chunky Chunky Rope says, I'm a real man.
I know of a friend of mine, and I know he won't mind me saying this. He's very short, just a little above a midget, really, and he's ugly as sin. Well, last week he spent £87 on a length of Chunky Chunky Rope, and 2 days later, he was made president of his golf club and slept with a girl who looked like Sam Janis. Statement. Now, I'm no sociologist, I don't even read The Guardian, but I do know that to be a man today is harder than it used to be. I got that just from reading a bit of David Baddiel. And I do know that a decent length of Chunky Chunky Rope says more than the right tie or shoes or fancy jacket ever could.
And with prices starting at just £19.38, even low-paid men can puff their theoretical chests out.
Metaphorical.
Sorry?
Puff out their metaphorical chests.
Exactly, like a peacock's plumage.
Yes, Natalie, and if you're not convinced by the Chunky Chunky Rope, maybe you have doubts about yourself. Well, look at this.
Some things say a lot about the kind of man you are. The car you drive. The money you earn. Your penis. Put it away, because here comes Chunky Chunky Rope. Chunky Chunky Rope. Say a lot about the kind of man you are. Say, Chunky Chunky Rope.
Sorry, I was just admiring the rope. It's so big. Here's today's star buy. Can I hold it again for a minute?
Mums, Stay-at-home dads, has your kiddie got the spooks? This super soup will spice up miserable mealtimes. When supped, this brilliant broth detects tiny tinkle changes in little children's nervy systems and changes hue according to a strict colour to concerns ratio. White for worried. Blue for victim of bullying. Jade for gender difficulties. Fear Soup, today's Unnovations star buy. Just £1.28.
Welcome back. Now, as everyone knows, we exist in a society predicated upon the repression of the masses through religion, marriage, and of course employment. And it's through employment that the privileged classes keep the proletariat in their place. And obviously this is no bad thing. I mean, where would we all be without jobs? I'll tell you where, Russia. So we should count our blessings. But even though you're lucky to get a job these days, even the most loyal worker can sometimes get a bit fed up with their bosses telling them what to do day in, day out. Especially if she's straight out of some tin-pot new University of Swindon with a degree in hole punch studies and has no actual televisual consumertainment experience under her belt. But what can you do? Well, you could tell her to stick her job, and believe me, I've considered it. But that just leaves you high and dry without a pot to piddle in. So you just go home thinking, I should have said this, I should have said that, and never actually saying anything. Well, with this next Unnovations product, you can say all those things and far, far worse without fear of recrimination, sacking or imprisonment. Because instead of saying them directly to your colleague, you can now vent your unappreciated spleen using the Me Be The Boss fantasy mat. Each mat conforms to the standard sterile shape of every modern office and comes complete with a set of customizable figures to represent your colleagues. Now you can act out scenes in which you tell the boss just what to do with her plans on younging up the show and give your colleagues a real piece of your mind when they try and steal, yes, steal ideas on how to sell jewellery via text messages. Or whatever arguments seem appropriate for your workplace. For example, you can tell the boss he's a shit or she's a shit. A lot of women bosses around these days, aren't there? Most of them are very good, better at managing people, supposedly, but they can be two-faced shits as well. Let me show you how it works. Here's three characters. Here's me. Here's, say, a two-faced female colleague, and here's a woman boss. Oh, I've come up with a really good idea to sell jewellery by text message. That's a good idea. Oh, woman boss, who I often have round for dinner and am always having suspicious little conversations with in the ladies' loos. I've just had a brilliant idea to sell jewellery by text messages. Oh, that is a good idea. Have a pay rise. Hey, listen to her idea, Ross. Selling jewellery by text messages. But that was my idea. You're a pair of ugly, conniving bitches and I hate you, bitch. And if you like the look of I'm the Boss, then you might want to try one of the other mats available in the range. Just take a look at how Me Be The Boss fantasy mat has affected these people's lives.
It's the best thing that happened to me since my husband died.
Every household should have one, if not more than one.
I give it a tremendous 2.
Once you've used it, you'll wonder how you ever got by without one.
Now, did you know that there are more people killed each year by poor quality goods than the entire population of China? It's a chilling statistic. So, in honour of the dead, let's look at today's buyer beware. To date, all of the products featured in Buyer Beware have been from networks other than Unnovations, an incontrovertible testament to our quality. Natalie, what's the controversy at the centre of the eye of the storm of this controversy?
Well, it's this dolphin thing from Channel Shoppy Shop. It looks nice enough, doesn't it? But actually, it's really dangerous. We subjected it to our Unnovations Standard Safety Standard Survey, done in association with Breamsmead Insurance Group. For the insurance you need, get insured by Breamsmead. And it rated an incredible 98% deadly.
And what exactly are the dangers of this product?
Well, research shows that it can have a very bad effect on breathing. A mother could drop it on a baby and shatter its little baby windpipe. And a fireman told me that if there was an inferno and someone went back to retrieve this, then they might choke and sick up on fumes from burning carpets.
So, in a very dangerous sense, this harmless object is a potential death trap?
Yes, it is. There are thousands of emails from people who've had their lives literally ruined by this. Here's just one. Huge Box 85 at Mail Bomb writes, I don't know how, but this dolphin thing made my eyes swell up like a pair of Mumpy Man's testes. Then my contact lenses popped out and hit the bus driver I was meeting for lunch.
Need we say more? We did ask the managing director of Channel Shoppy Shop onto the show to slit his tiny wrists open like severed chickens' necks in front of an audience of dissatisfied customers, but he declined.
Here at Unnovations, we often like to bask in the self-gratification that we get from the knowledge that we're always continuing to improve our various ways of exchanging your cash which you have earned or inherited for our products that we sell to you. And we aim to make that process as simple as possible, which is why there are now more ways than ever to shop with Unnovations. There are two. The first is our Filipino call centre, where staff sometimes get the gist of your order in minutes. But now you can also shop at Unnovations by logging onto the NET network and getting caught up in the web that is the World Wide Web. We guarantee that our online transactions are about 60% secure, so you can relax knowing full well that over half of you will not be the victim of some kind of credit card fraud. Unnovations, off Junction 12 on the Information Superhighway.
Welcome back to Unnovations. Now, if you've ever used a mobile phone, and these days that must be everyone these days, then our next item is going to be a real boon for mobile phone users. And that includes all of us these days, doesn't it, Natalie?
I don't know where I'd be without my phone, I really don't. I mean, I've had mine for years, I've grown up with it, I suppose. But it must be different being someone like you, Beverly. I mean, you've lived for a bit before there were phones, so to you they must be like magic.
Yes, Natalie. But it's funny, isn't it, that everyone uses them, but there's still something of a stigma attached to using a phone in a public place, which is a bit of a shame, really, because really it's only in public places that it's worth using a mobile phone, because in private places there's generally old-fashioned phones with wires attached to the walls.
Yes, it can be embarrassing, can't it? When your phone goes and you're on a train or on a bus or in a pub or on a ship or in a house or on the street or in a hole or something, then everyone notices. I remember my phone went on a plane once and everyone just looked daggers at me. And I didn't, like I said to them, I didn't ask to be called, and I felt really awkward when I was talking to my mate. I mean, I couldn't even hear her properly. There was all this shouting.
Well, Natalie, I can tell that you are just the sort of person for this next product. And actually, I should say, even if you're not the same sort of person as Natalie, then you'll like it too. It's called the Divertiphone, and basically it's this. It's about the size of a mobile phone SIM card, and that's because it's a mobile phone SIM card. But unlike the one you've got in your phone at the moment, this works in a very special way. It's designed to make people calling you on your phone less embarrassing. You put this in your phone, and when someone calls you, instead of your phone ringing, it makes the phone of someone next to you ring instead. So, if you're out and about and you hear someone's phone ring, all you have to do is tug them on the arm and say, "Is that for me?" And if it is, they'll just hand it over.
That's so good.
And remember, Nat, if it's someone who you don't want to talk to, you can just say to the person, "I'm not here," and get them to take a message.
Brilliant.
Now, I think we can demonstrate it now, Nat. Have you got your phone on you?
Yep, here it is.
Now, I put one of these cards in your phone earlier. So let's imagine I'm thinking, oh, I want to call Nat. So I dial in your number. But what's brilliant is that your phone doesn't ring. It's the person sitting next to you whose phone rings.
But in that case, it's you.
Yes, that's right. In this case, that is me, and I can't get the call because I'm on the phone to you. But the person sitting next to you wouldn't normally be the person making the call. Well, they'd just lean over and talk to you. So you can see how it works.
It works on all networks, even abroad, and comes with a handy leaflet translating the phrase, "Is that a call for me?" into 8 different languages, even Swahili.
Means that your battery won't run down because it'll be running on the other person's phone, pays for itself in electricity over a 20-year period if you receive 14 peak hour calls a day.
If the other person won't hand over their phone, maybe have a fear of crime or disease maybe, then they can just relay the call to you.
I mean, I think this is really going to be a must for anyone with a mobile phone. Imagine if everyone had a diverty phone, then no one would have to answer their phone again. Someone else would. Brilliant.
Now, if you've got any questions about the diverty phone, we'd like to take your calls. In fact, there's one coming in now. It's Sally on line 9. Hello, Sally.
Hello, Natalie. Hello, Beverly.
Hello, Sally.
Do you have any questions about the diverty phone, Sally?
Yes, I'm just wondering if it's safe.
Safe? In what way?
Well, I've got a mobile phone and I'm a bit worried about what they do to your brain.
Oh, me too. It's terrifying, isn't it? They cook your head, don't they? All those burnt memories. Awful.
Well, Sally, the beauty of the diverty phone is that someone else is holding the phone against their head most of the time. So if mobiles are bad for you, they're not bad for you, they're bad for them, if you see what I mean.
So, is it safe then?
Well, that all depends, really, how much you care about the health of strangers.
Not much.
Oh, there you go, then.
Just don't make small talk with them afterwards, because then you might get to know them, and then they'd become a friend, and you'd feel really bad when they got ill because of the phone.
Yes, don't talk to them afterwards. Just nod at them or something and go off on your way. Never see them again. They'll be none the wiser.
They could drop dead a year later and never know why.
And you wouldn't feel bad about that, would you? I mean, in all honesty, Sally, would you really care less?
I suppose not, no.
So there you go then. One of our operators will take your credit card details in a moment, Sally. Thank you for your call.
Yes, thanks.
There now follows an announcement by the TPC. The Telly People Council are people just like you, except we're not you because we work for the Telly People Council, a group of people just like you. Last month we received over 50 complaints by a bunch of mostly illiterate whingers with too much time in their eyes. However, 2 people had a good point, and the council have deemed Unnovations in breach of broadcasting standards. On the 9th of May, Larry Dowd, the inventor of Beard Me Kids, appeared on Unnovations and felt he was treated with an air of suspicion. We at the TPC have viewed the tape and agree that both Ross and Beverly threw him some funny looks, particularly Ross. It was also thoroughly improper to have asked Mr. Dowd to hold a tray just before the break. The complaint has been upheld and a copy of our findings bound in leather and tossed in a drawer. This is the end of the verdict.
Hello, my name's Tony Scannell, and you may know me as one of TV's top crime fighters. But now I'm using the gifts that God bestowed upon me, a great camera presence, an ability to remember words, and a way with the ladies, to sell you some great Unnovations products. So join me later on tonight when I will be giving you the opportunity to buy these little darlings. That's right, pineapples and toilet duck, all for you. I got them off a guy down the docks and he assures me that they're kosher. So keep stum and I'll see you later.
Welcome back to Unnovations. Now, here's a product I know you're going to love. I just can't believe that the inventors didn't think of it earlier than they did think of it, which is now. This little beauty is the Patrovisor. How many times have you been in the embarrassing situation that I know I've been in, where you're walking along, maybe in a street, maybe not, maybe a different part in your local area. You're walking along and suddenly you find yourself passing someone, how shall we say, in a wheelchair. I don't mean the people who have a broken leg or have had their kneecap shattered. They'll get better with time. No, I mean the permanent kind in a wheelchair. I know, it's sad, isn't it? Anyway, You're walking along and you find yourself passing someone in a wheelchair and you don't know what to say, do you? I know I don't. You could offer words of comfort, but they may not want to hear that because they may be in a bad mood, because they are in almost every way just like normal people. So you just end up looking a bit embarrassed and staring a bit too long. Well, not anymore. Not with the Patrovisor. With the Patrovisor, you need never be caught staring again. Quite simply, it's a huge disc that fits around your neck. Once fitted, the disabled can quite easily pass you without enduring any of your pathetic half smiles or brief looks of condolence. The beauty of the Patrovisor is that it doesn't actually stop you from conversing with the disabled. If for any reason a disabled person wants to talk to you, maybe they want to know the time, not because they can't tell the time themselves, but because their own watch may be broken. Maybe a disabled person with a broken watch asks you for the time, and with the Patrovisor, you can still answer. And if you feel more comfortable with it, you can decorate the inside with pictures of able-bodied people. So even your tone won't be patronising. There are already plans for a new model with directable wing mirrors that point down, because the only thing worse than patronising a disabled person is tripping over them and landing in their fragile lap. So there it is, the Patrovisor, on a special Unnovations offer today of just £165.44. I can assure you, you really can't go wrong with this product. It's a must if you can't help but patronise and you live in an area or even know someone who lives near an area where there is a strong disabled presence. Maybe your town is hosting the Paralympics. The Patrovisor. Call now.
The Patrovisor is just one of the Unnovations products to have been awarded the Woking Old Boys Cup of Excellence. Here are some others they've endorsed for their commitment to cutting-edge design. Science has proved that the number 3 is the most commonly spoken number in the world, and every time you say it, the impurities you breathe knock minutes off your life. Well, not anymore. This hard-wearing, rainproof tile bearing the digit fits in even the smallest pocket. So never say 3 again. Instead, just show the live longer tile and literally add years to your life. Memory hoops are the one innovation you'll never forget. Simply charge the hoops at one of our 50 roadside hoop charge stations, then commit the contents of your memory to the hoop databank by pouring milk over your thoughts. You'll never forget anything again, and each hoop lasts for 20 months.
And that's all from me, Beverly Newbond, on Unnovations for tonight. But you can join me tomorrow for more first and second-hand goods. And if you're free at the weekend, you could maybe tune into my new radio show on Radio 4. It's called Newbond's Interior Inventors, and each week I'll be interviewing the great creators from the world of home furnishings. This Sunday I'll be talking to Maurice Templeton, inventor of the breakfast bar. Should be a lot of fun. Now, time to pass you over to Vic Simmons and his Hour of Yellow. Goodbye.
In Russell